What's going on, everybody? It is Luke, and today we are going to be talking about six ways to fund your Amazon online arbitrage business. Of course, it can be retail arbitrage as well, or wholesale, but obviously I focus on online arbitrage, so I'll be doing it and explaining it from the perspective of how I run my business. So, of course, because this is all to do with loans and finance and borrowing, everything's going to be, non-financial advice. So it's not financial advice. I've probably said it like 6 times in this video, because if you don't, you get told off or something. But let's get started. So I'm going to be going over everything that I've used for finance within my Amazon business from the very beginning all the way till now, present day. I'll explain why I've used them, how I've used them, the limits I've got, and the sort of costs attributed to having them. Like, what's the interest? Is there much? Do you get free cashback, which is what you get on some stuff? Is it worth doing long term, short term, all that sort of thing. So the first thing I'm going to start with is HSBC business overdrafts. Very simple. It's not something you can just apply for. What it is, actually, of course it is. Ignore me. Don't worry. One takes all. I always just do one take, so who cares what I do. So with this, I had a business account with HSBC for a couple of years before I actually started my Amazon business. It was set up because I was going to start a business before that with a friend, but he ended up basically being quite successful in his current business, so he didn't have time to focus on what we were planning. So I kept the overdraft. Now, I kept a business account, which was literally just a business, it's not a corporate, just a business standard HSBC login. Whatever you want to call it. It was free for the first year, and then it was like £9 or something, £9.50 a month or £6.50. It was under a tenner, or whatever. It was cheap, and I kept it open and just paid that amount. The reason was because it was quite a lot of things to fill in and go through just to be verified to set up a business account. So for that price, I knew the cost attributed to keeping it open was worth mucking around later. Especially as it was already under the business name and all that sort of thing. And I then eventually got given £3,000 overdraft from HSBC. I never applied for it. I just put through my main business, all my income, all my expenses and all my spend went through HSBC as my main primary account. All my withdrawals from Amazon. And what happened eventually is after maybe a year, 8 months, probably a year, I'd say, they gave me a £3,000 overdraft, and I still have that same £3,000. So they haven't even upped it. So after like 4 years, obviously increasing my turnover, still the same. And yeah, I could probably apply for, maybe a credit card, but it's like how much do you keep doing it? How much leverage do you want to sort of play with? How much sort of debt or borrowing do you want to go through? And of course, not financial advice. I'm getting sick and tired by the end of this video. And so that's the most traditional way of getting, some extra capital at the beginning, because the cost for this that I pay is between £5 and £15. Sometimes I've maybe paid £25 on like a Q4 period where I have no money in the account for the whole month because I'm spending every penny as I get it. But most of the time it'll probably cost me about £12, £10. And that's the fee to have the account and the fee to actually have the cost of the overdraft, basically, to go in the overdraft, which is, for the sake of £3,000 every month, because if you think, well, however you want to sort of play it in your mind, but I play it as, I can probably turn that over in 1 month, so how much can I make off £3,000 in a month? Let's say £1,000, that's whatever it is, let's say £1,000. I make plus £1,000, and I lose 15. Simple. That's how I play it, mentally. Even if it's not, however you want to sort of go. Everyone's different, and you can always go off different frameworks to play, play how if it's worth or not. So we're going to be moving on. Obviously, this is very simple, and it's not like everyone's going to be offered it. So we'll move on. So the next thing I then, did I apply for it or I got offered it? I think I actually got offered this. So every so often you'll get stuff through the post saying, your business is eligible for a credit card, and a lot of time I don't look at them, but now and then I think, because I only had that £3,000, or maybe this is around the same time, I thought, well, let's see, I don't have to use it. I'd rather have something and not use it, because I know that I may need it within a year, because Amazon's Q4 heavy, turnover and profits, that you may need more capital within a year. So I then went to Capital on Tap. Now, I've obviously done videos before, so if you're looking for a little bit more of a review on it, or you want to just double check on what I said before, then there's a previous video that you can go to, which is dedicated to this. The reason I like this card is because as long as you pay it back in full, which I'll go over in a minute, you get either Avios points now, or you get cash back. So most of the time, every month, I get about between £50 and £100. I think I can get up to 150 quid probably, just with I think I have an £8 limit. They up it now and then. I think I started up at like £500 or £1,000. Then I went to like £3,000, and it went to like £5,000. I've had it for a good couple of years now, and over the years, they just slowly up it as and when they decide that you're not going to abuse it or whatever, however you want to play it. And so the cost of the card is about £119 a year. I think you get the first year free. It does sometimes say. They have changed it recently as well. It has really cool like integrations and stuff. I don't worry about any of that. I literally just do it. I just play with it. Yeah, like here you can get like 10,000 bonus points and all that sort of thing. But I signed up before they even had that Avios, so couldn't take advantage of that. But you can go ahead and have a look. But the thing is, the interest is really high if you do not pay it off. So if you do not pay your credit card off, whatever the balance, even if you've not paid off £4 or £1, because I had this once, I paid off nearly the whole balance, but I was like, oh, I want to keep a little bit in my business account to buy some stuff for Q4. But what happened is I then didn't have enough to pay the credit card, because by about £100 or £80. And because I didn't pay the whole thing off, you get charged on the full sum. I had like £300-400 bill on about £3-4 grand. I don't even know what it was. The interest is actually quite high. I'm sure it changes depending on depending on your. It's not the same for everybody. But as long as you pay it off in full, you always get your cash back. If you do not pay it off in full, you get nothing. So you get no cash back, no Avios points, nothing. So not only are you losing that, but you're also getting charged. So you sort of double negative. Well, that's more positive, but you get what I mean. So not only are you losing extra money that you could get as profit, I guess, or extra income, you're also then having to pay. So I always pay it off every month. So you get a nice, it's like any credit card, you get a nice 30 days, 55 days, whatever the thing is for the duration, and then you go ahead and pay it off as and when, and make sure you pay it off in full by the balance, or it'll just be taken by direct debit. So yeah, and this is just really nice because the way you could see it is that a lot of people say I don't want to take on debt, which is fine. It just means your Amazon business will either never reach a huge number unless it takes longer. But obviously, no one lives forever, so you can't, in 50 years or how long is online arbitrage going to last? Everyone always asks this question. 3 years ago, everyone said online arbitrage is dead. Well, and the people that actually did it, are now reaping the rewards. People that didn't are just still wondering, oh, is it, but that's a completely different story. And the way that I would do it is, if you just want to get your head around it, like I like to sort of play it out, play the numbers, like for and against. You could, if you want to spend, let's say you get a £1,000 limit, you want to spend it, well then keep £1,000 in your business account. So you're using other people's money to grow your business. Worst case, you have £1,000 in your business account. This is what I did at the beginning. Because of course, this is not financial advice. Okay, I'm not a financial advisor. This is just what I did, and then I was like, right, well, whatever happens, if I need to pay it off, I've got that money in the business account. But I'd rather have that 1,000 in the business and use someone else's than instead of basically not taking the card and then using 1,000, and then something happens. I've got options. I call it options. And so yeah, you get the interest is crap if you don't pay it off, but if you pay it off in full and you're responsible, then you can get some decent cash back and probably make about 500 quid a year. Yes, it's about £119 a year to get the card. If you want to bolster up your Avios, brilliant. The next one we're going to jump onto is Amazon. So the next one I would have got in my sort of journey is an Amazon loan. This is my Amazon account with my loans. So you can see here, programs, lending. You'll never see that. You'll never probably see the program section. This won't show. But this is my history. So originally, it doesn't have any dates here. But originally I was off £1,000. and then I was offered 4.5. So after about a year of selling on Amazon, I had £1,000 offered to me, and that was I don't know, Q4 2000 whatever year. Right after that, in about January, February, they normally offer you a refinance rather than wait for 6 months. So these are 6 months terms. They offered me 4.5, but because I was quite new, my turnover really in Q1 and Q1 was quite small. So after that, they didn't actually offer me anything else. So I paid that off, and that was that. And then last year, like 6 months ago, about 6 months ago, they offered me 16. So I used that in Q4, which is really nice. And then they refinanced again in January, and then they refinanced again. And, annoyingly, it doesn't really move the money. Like, they've offered me £500 less. But the problem is, because you've only paid back one sum, so if you can't see it, but it actually shows here. This is sort of how, if you want to drill into it, actually look at the details, you can see I have to pay £2,685 a month. It gets taken directly out of your balance, so you don't even have to, you don't pay, you just don't get any money for a while. The interest, total interest payable is, it does say somewhere, I don't know, somewhere. I think it's like £100 a month. So I think I have to pay 500. Whatever. It's not a lot of money. It's like £90, £95 a month or something. Or even for £15.5 what you could do with that over 6 months, and you're paying £600, or even, I think it's even less than that. I think it's like 5 something. Great. And the good thing about this is that if I keep if then I increase my turnover with them because of the money, then what can happen is maybe come Q4 they'll offer me £45,000. Who knows? There are many people that have been offered 25, 35, 45. I think millions, potentially in America. Not for online arbitrage, but bigger companies and stuff like that. So this is basically how it looks. You don't really see a lot. Obviously, you can get like PDF with all the information and technical data. And that's, if you ever get this, that's up to you. You have to research it yourself because it's not financial advice. So I'm only showing you what I've done in the history of my business. But every month I'll have to pay back $2,600. And when they then offer you a refinance, you just get the difference. So because I've only paid back one lot, I only got like $1 or £2 difference, because obviously £2.5 minus off 15.5, and then they obviously offered you another refinance on 15.5, and it's just the difference. Then they pay you that. So really nothing's changed over those months as such. But with that, I can now up my business in Q1, because here in Q1, so previously last year I had a Q4 and I had a year where I didn't get offered anything. So that was within a year. I've been doing about 4 years, 3.5. So after 1 year, I got offered those two, and then there was a gap of a year, and then I got offered basically the 16. So there was a 2-year gap between them two, I guess, for whatever reason. And also, if you do not accept the loan, a lot of the time you will not be offered a new one. Now, I have heard that you can, but most people will say you will not be offered a new one if you decline it, because a lot of it's automated. I think they review, if you accept it, they do review it, but that is it. So, moving on. The next thing I got is a Cashplus. Now, this isn't going to be anything special. It's literally very similar to the Capital on Tap. They offered me like £500, and it was like Q4 before I got offered the Amazon 16.5, whatever we talked about. So actually, it was nothing special. It was, I literally had it. I don't even use it now. So I use it for Q4 because every little helps. Used that, and then I got rid of it. Simple. Well, I keep it still, but I don't use it. You get some cash back, but pay it off in full. Don't use it. Whatever. Whatever you want to do. This is just an extra thing that I had on the side, and that is literally as much as that is. I don't really use it, and I can't really say too much about how good it is because I haven't really used it too much. So then moving on, there's two more, but this is the last sort of institution, I guess, rather than the last bonus thing I'll say. So right at the beginning of the Amazon journey, or whatever you want to call it, when I got that £3,000, so a bit after the £3,000. I think this was within the year I used iWalker. the year that I didn't have an Amazon loan. So remember I said there was a gap. So at that so when it came towards Q4, I knew the sort of like impact the money could have. And I was like, well, let's have a look around and see how people get, anything basically. Sure, you can put your own money in, but just like I always say, I'd rather play with other people's money than my own, because then I have options. If you just use your own, then you have nothing left. You can do both, but then what if something happens? What if your Amazon account's frozen and you've got to pay your bills? Well, you can't, because you've got like 4p in the bank, and then that's it. Yeah, so I'd rather have options. That's what it is. Even if the options don't really change the outcome, it's better to be able to choose. Yeah. So I took a walk alone. I don't know how much it was for. Maybe for £6 grand. I don't know. They have a little slider here, and they show you. I did actually log into my account to try to show you, but because I don't use them at the moment. It's all sort of wiped. The data doesn't show on the front screen. It would have been quite nice to show you, but it doesn't matter. Now this doesn't actually. The interest isn't actually probably what you'll get. This interest is more like a little like fishing rod things to get you in. Do you like that? So it'll probably be like, I don't know, 10 or so. I don't even know what mine was, but it wasn't great. And also it's weighted, so the interest is weighted on the. So if you took out a 12-month, and let's say we borrowed £1,000, so you can see how much. This is how much interest at 3.33. Terrible interest, basically. It's just terrible. But I think I now have. Don't use it. But I can get 15. Sorry, I can get 15 grand. I think. Well, I think that's the last one they offered me before I just didn't use them again for a while. So at the moment it could be anything. But what happens with this company is that you give them access to your Amazon account, you tell them your Amazon turnover, they actually go onto your Amazon account using the AWS developer keys or whatever that thing is, and they actually have a little look to show that you're able to take it. Now this is one of the worst ones to get, okay? So I have had it because only for Q4 is ultimately the answer. I only use this if I really want to for Q4, because the interest is terrible. So 50, look at the interest there. But if you pay it off faster, the interest isn't as bad. So you can see here. So this is the scenario that I use iWalker and only use them in the scenario. You can see here it's only £1,000 for 3 months. Now really you might even say you could do it in 2, but for an extra 250 quid, 3 months. So Q4, okay, Q4. Let's say it's the end. Let's say mid-September. You want, this is a scenario that I did. Mid-September, I took out 15 grand. Did I take 15 grand? It doesn't matter what I took out. Whatever I took out. And because you can see here, if I pay it back within 3, even if it's the actual duration is 12, so it will show the full monthly payments, and the interest. But you can pay it back early with no extra fees and no extra interest and all that. So really, I know that I'm paying it back within 3 months. So I know it's about £1,000. So I'm waiting £1,000 interest on 15 grand investment or capital investment. So 15 grand could turn into 10. I don't know, over Q4. It could turn into 5. I don't know. Whatever you're able to turn it into. Now, for me, £1,000 cost for 15 grand. It's worth it, and then worst case, I'll keep that. If I feel like, well, I don't want to be heavily like debt leveraged or whatever that thing's called, then you can keep the actual cash in your bank. Like I said, have options. Keep the money in your own bank. Use other people's money. Yes, it costs you £1,000, but you're using other people's money. And worst case, you can, if you really want to, you can, as I say, do both. So for me, I will do, maybe 2 months, because you'll have some money anyway going in and out. And as sales start picking up, you can then, I would take it out. This is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, because this is what I did. And then I used it for 2 months, or so I might have taken it out for 3, maybe mid-September, but then I started paying it back mid-December, because on the 20th of December or something, well, even the beginning, yeah, so that would be 3 months, so mid-September, October, November, December, yeah. So 3 months, but I would start paying it back probably before, because what happens is when you get to about end of November, your cash flow, so you already invested this money, and your payments from Amazon and the cash flow is turning over so fast that instead of getting like £1,000 every couple of days, if you're a new, slightly newer seller, you're getting 3-4 grand every couple of days. And because it's turning over so much faster, and you're getting so much more money in to your bank, you don't, and almost you're like, oh, it's building up so fast, I can't spend it fast enough. So you can then start paying it back, which is then going to reduce this overall interest. And that's how I played it. So overall, and you can go and see after you've done the payments, you can go and add up all your interest and actually see how much you've done. So it'll give you like a breakdown of that payment was £1,000, the interest on that was 80, 100, 200, whatever it is. Of course, if you want to be ballsy, why not? You'll pay 45, 46 grand. But there's obviously a limit with online arbitrage. Can you really spend 200 grand? Can you really spend 9 grand? Can you spend 50 grand? And there's that, how much there's only so much you'll be able to physically do. Like if you had that, you're really going to be able to, in a year, maybe you could spend that. Yeah, you could spend that in a year. Yeah, you could. Easily. Yeah, you could. With wholesale and stuff. But like, if you were doing that with your own money as well, you got to play on this. It's not, the more isn't always better. It's more being strategic, and then I like to say having the option. And all they do is access your Amazon account and do it that way. Of course, it's not financial advice. I'm not financial advice because this is one of the worst ones. So you do not want to over leverage yourself, overstretch yourself with this sort of thing, because for me, all of these other options that I've just mentioned are first protocol. Definitely, I'd say definitely the Amazon loan is normally nice because it's secured against your stock. If something happens, your stock is there, and also you're more likely to get approved for a larger one come Q4, say, which is great because the interest is really low. So the interest on this is like 10 times more than the interest of Amazon, and it's all within the Amazon platform. And they obviously see something in you because they're offering you borrowing, and so on. And yeah, so these are the 5. And the last one is family and friends. Now everyone says, no, but what if something happens? So I did borrow some money off my friend. Well, my mum offered me loads, but I think it's just like, how much do you borrow? My mum was like, okay, I'll give you 10 grand and I'll get a grand, or I'll basically give her 11,000 back over last Q4. Well, we discussed it for this one. But the problem is like, how much is enough and how much is not enough, and what if something happens, Would you rather pay a little bit more interest? For example, this one, if you borrow 10 grand, let's just do a scenario, you're paying, mother, she's conning me. God damn, she wanted 10,000 for 11,000. I can get it for 10,600. Mum, you screwed me. Anyway, back to this. You get what I mean. That interest is actually far too low for what it probably is anyway. For 3 months they might offer you something, but it's up to you. I took I think my friend lent me 2 grand because I felt that I would always have 2 grand available within my Amazon normal account, HSBC account. So if anything ever happened, straight away he would be paid first. I know that I can get 2 grand, and I'll always have payments coming in most days, or it would be in the system. So even if something happened to the account, my Amazon account, I've probably got 3-4 payments already sent to me that are in the system. Definitely over Q4. Yeah. Like every day I'll be getting in a couple, 1, 2, 3, 4 grand, whatever. So I know that there'd be a little bit of a backlog of payments waiting for me to come to me, whatever my account status is. So I could pay that. That's sort of how I played it. But again, you might be able to get, you might, or you, if they know that something could happen, that you'll pay them back eventually. These things are personal, and I'm not even going to give advice for that, because there's no advice that can be given. Again, that's not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. That's just going to get so annoying to people, isn't it? So that's everything. So, these are many different, and there's no right way to do it. It's normally progression. So obviously the Amazon loan is something that comes a little later, once you're a bit more established, and you can organically grow your business with no leveraging of debt or borrowing or credit cards. but it just takes longer, and that's it. And you've got to weigh up the risk reward ratio. Are you happy making full-time 30 grand a year, but you never really be able to grow out of that because you're not able, obviously every month we have our expenses, and you really got to be rolling that like tumbleweed in the right direction. It's a completely terrible one, but acronym, but okay. Rolling in the right direction fast enough to pick up the sort of the speed of what you're doing. Right, hopefully I've covered everything. I'm sure there's a couple of points that I've missed or people have questions on, because I can only go off my historical reference points. It's a really weird thing to say, but yeah, you get what I mean. So hopefully you had a nice bit of insight into the different types that you can take. I'm sure there are tons more, and I know there are tons more. Even just a standard loan is, people would probably have done that as well. But again, I'm not a financial advisor, and it's not financial advice, and that's the last time I'm saying that. So have a great day. Hopefully you got some good tips from this. Any questions, let me know, because I know it is a little bit more of a technical video than others it could be. So yeah, have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.